WNBA reporter has found himself in serious hot water after calling Caitlin Clark selfish.
Hey, it was crazy to call Caitlin Clark selfish, but it was mean to call her flashy. That's a surefire way to get roasted by the internet. Someone who works for the WNBA thought it was a good idea. Now, they're trying to change their minds as fans come in with receipts, numbers, and anger. Let's get right to it and talk about how badly this take aged and why the backlash happened so quickly.
Now, this reporter is pretty much saying Caitlin Clark was a selfish basketball player. She didn't include her teammates. Just a bunch of...
It took courage for a WNBA writer to speak out and call Caitlin Clark selfish. Not right away, of course. People like this don't do it straight up very often. They always put it in a bunch of filler words and make an unfair comparison, hoping no one will notice. But people do.
Now, we know Paige Bueckers is set to make her debut in the WNBA as well in the next coming days. And I'm telling you right now, it is definitely...
Because you say Paige Bueckers will move faster, since she's not as flashy and cares more about other people. Not only are you complimenting Paige, but you're also putting down Caitlin. Also, Caitlin Clark has the most assists in the league. She has already scored 30 points in her first game. The bar has been broken if that's what being selfish looks like now. The writer basically said that Paige is more grounded, team-oriented, and less showy. This is how they used words like diva, ball hog, ego, and shoes to describe Caitlin. But anyone who has seen real games knows that's not true. You can't lead your team's offense and record 6 assists per game without being called selfish. That takes guts and no basketball knowledge. Things get worse from here on out. That news story came out before Paige even played her first WNBA game. Now everyone on the internet is comparing made-up Paige to real-life Caitlin, who has already been proven. Also, that's not going well. Let's break it down. In 20 days, Caitlin Clark played 11 games. We just got back from the NCAA final. No break, no extra time, and no soft landings. Just boom, you're in the pros. At the same time, Paige is going into a setup that is much smoother, with a lot more support and much less pressure. Clark wasn't able to do that. From the start, she was blitzed, double-teamed, and full-court pushed. Even so, she still scored 17 points per game, grabbed 5 rebounds, and blocked 1.1 shots. Also, the fever went from 1 to 10 at one point, but she wasn't the issue. Even though the box score didn't always show it, she was the one who brought that team back into the game. Let's go back to the writer who said Clark didn't pass because he or she wasn't an expert. Please excuse me, have you ever watched a fever game? This isn't NBA 2K, where you can just repeat assists for fun. These are real defenses, scouts, and game plans that were made just to stop Caitlin Clark. Still, she finds partners who are open for shots. Not only is this story about her being flashy and selfish not true, it's also very lazy. It's not a good way to make things worse between her and Paige before Paige even plays. Like, good job. You want to start a feud before the league has seen the second part of the story. And of course, X was very bright. There was a lot of clowning when fans pulled out receipts, numbers, and quotes. A person asked, how do you call someone selfish who's leading the WNBA in assists as a rookie? That is not analysis. It is fan fiction. Someone said, Paige might be efficient, but Clark is literally dragging an entire franchise out of irrelevance. Don't act silly. People on the internet wouldn't let this go because it was true. The flash that Caitlin has works. There are passes with no look, threes with the logo, and fake shots that break knees. They're not just for the best parts, they do the job. You're not selfish if you can play like that and still get your teammates interested. You're scary. This story is only being told by people who either A, didn't watch the games, or B, want to stir things up to get more clicks. It could be both. This is where the instant guilt comes in. When people didn't like what the reporter said, they tried to take it back by saying it wasn't meant as a jab, just a comment. Nope, dude. It's not okay to pull the pin on a bomb and then act shocked when it goes off. There was no way that the similarity would not feel personal since Caitlin Clark is not just another rookie. She's the public face of this draft class. She's the one who fills stadiums. She's the one who sells shirts. People who aren't die-hard fans are the only ones who are paying attention. Instead of praising that, this writer went against the grain and tried to boost Paige's reputation by putting Clark down. It's not being bought. Fans said Paige should be glad the attention is on Caitlin instead, so she doesn't have to be picked apart every night and can grow. Let's be honest, Paige won't get away clean either if she's double-teamed, hunted, and forced to play back-to-back games like Caitlin did. The reason why most rookies don't play a lot at first is clear. But Clark, she had no choice. She was the crime. People still wanted more wins, more points, and fewer mistakes. In other words, how? Do not even begin to talk about the mistakes. To be sure, Caitlin does drop the ball. Every single high-usage player in history has done the same thing. You think Sabrina Ionescu didn't have issues with turnovers her first year? You believe Sue Bird was perfect from the start? There will be turnovers. You'll cough up the ball sometimes if you touch it every time you have the ball. That's not being selfish. That's the sound. That's being responsible. The reporter tried to make it look like Caitlin wasn't passing well because she didn't just make safe throws. Let me give you a hint. Safe passes don't win games. Risky ones do. Also, Caitlin has been spinning needles since she was in Iowa. It's not only wrong, but also rude when people try to change her way by calling it selfish. It gets even stranger when you see how the defense treats Clark and how they treat Paige. Caitlin gets the full court press, the doubles when the ball comes in, and the traps whenever the ball is picked. Paige, maybe not, since Paige hasn't scared off any players yet. Not the way Clark is now. Clark breaks down defenses, pushes people to turn, and causes chaos. Paige wants to do that one day, but she's not ready yet. Paige may have a better start on paper because she's walking into a smoother ride. It doesn't make her better, though. In this case, it just means she doesn't have a brand yet. It's simple to look useful when the load isn't too heavy. Let's hit Paige hard for 10 nights in a row for 4 quarters, and then we'll talk about how they compare. Let the rookie with the triple-double breathe until then. Now, what does that leave us with? It looks like the story machine is already getting out of hand. The pages will be used a lot to show how the real team player works. The news stories are already starting to take shape. Paige knows how to play. This show is a breath of fresh air after all the Caitlin hype. It has more substance than flash. Blah, blah, blah. Now here's the deal. Paige rocks. That isn't being denied. But why do we need to bring down Caitlin to make Paige look better? People pick sides like it's a reality show when there are 2 great women in the same league. Answer is easy. It clicks. Thoughts. Made-up competition. The oldest trick in the book for the media. It's stupid, too. Because Caitlin Clark has changed. The WNBA's business. Ticket sales are up. TV ratings are through the roof. And social media is going crazy. She should be respected. You don't need to like her game. But it's not smart to call her selfish. Like really, really wrong. You could say she's mean. You could say she forces shots sometimes. That's okay. You're a big scorer when you do that. He did it. James Harden. Kobe did it. It is still done by Diana Taurasi. It's not being selfish. It's what great players do when no one else on the court knows how to score. Let's talk about the team. Caitlin isn't playing with a team of seasoned pros. She passes the ball to players who, please excuse me, aren't consistently making open shots. That means more heat, more pressure, and more shots. Do you want her to do better? Who is caught? Still, she gets through. Still gives out 6 assists per game. Looks for her killers even now. Plays through traps and doubles at the same time. Paige, on the other hand, is joining a team that already has structure, shooters, and a method. When the team around her is done playing, her kindness will look great. The plays had to be made by Caitlin. The number line doesn't lie, but the situation does. Caitlin Clark doesn't put herself first. She's a player who does everything because no one else will. Those are not the same. Let's not act like Caitlin's fame is all a bunch of hoopla. She's done things in recent years that no newbie has ever done, setting new records for assists, scoring runs, and a triple-double right away. She's also in charge of marketing for an entire league. This isn't like any other rookie season. Caitlin Clark isn't trying to get liked. She's trying to change the rules. If you think that's selfish, then maybe you missed the game. If you're with us, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment. Let's hear what you think.